Actually, Mommy has an extra head on her shoulder.
I do. 2 heads are better than 1. Hey, it's Bree and Sky from Bamba Gardens.
I grew a body! I don't know how to do the floss. Let's do it right!
I think you need a little practice. So what we're going to get done today is we're going to get the rest of our tomatoes planted. We just have a few left to do. So I'm going to show you what I do to grow my tomatoes. Plant them deep, and I also put an egg in the hole where I'm planting. So egg in the hole and plant them deep. And I have my little hole digger here. Rainy, who's digging holes today?
You.
You almost cut off my nose. Gosh. I could have died. Okay. To get started, we have our plants, we have our tomatoes. I have no idea what variety these ones are. These ones though are Amish paste. I grew the majority of the tomatoes from seed, but I did get a couple from the nursery. So we have our tomatoes, we have our eggs, and we have our compost.
Is this one a small duck egg or not? That's hard to tell.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
I think it's just one of the small eggs. You see?
Yeah. We want to dig a nice deep hole.
But there's like brick here.
Ugh. Tree root.
I need these are for my pets.
Come here, let me see.
Worms.
What do you have?
Worms.
Ooh, you got some good ones.
And now they're gonna be my pet with my
I always lose our help when we find worms or caterpillars or anything. So how deep do I want to plant them? I want to plant them at least up to here. At least. You see all these, you can see like all these hairs, all these fine fibers, these hair-like things. All those are roots. That's part of the root system. So what you want to do is you want to, you know, bury them as deep as you can. I have my hole dug. We're about 6 inches deep. Now that I have my hole dug, I'm just going to throw the egg in there. Throw it in there. I usually give it I just give it a crack like that. I don't break it apart. I just throw it in like that. I break the roots up a little bit and just throw them in the hole. Okay, I kind of just pinched off the bottom leaves on there, and that's gonna be in the ground. I'm gonna put the dirt at least to here. Probably a little bit deeper than I should be right now, but that's how deep I'm gonna cover it up. I'm gonna have it covered up that deep. All right, so I got that in the ground, and I just take my compost and put it all around the stem. All right, so you can see how I buried it all the way up, all the way to there. It's hard to tell here, but I kind of have it mounded. This is all really high up and it slants down. It's gonna keep the water running away from the roots. So that's how I plant my tomatoes. I'm gonna get the rest of these in the ground. I only have a few more left to plant. I have the majority of them done already. So what the eggs are gonna do for the tomatoes is gonna provide, it's gonna provide calcium for them. It's kind of like an extended life calcium supplement. as it breaks down within the soil, the calcium will be released and it'll be available for the tomatoes to absorb them. It's going to help to prevent like blossom end. Basically, it's a calcium deficiency, and it's also caused by like uneven watering. So with blossom end rot, essentially your tomato plants will look fine, the foliage will look fine, the tomatoes will be growing fine, but then the bottom of your tomato will start to rot out. I've had that issue in the past with my tomatoes. I had the biggest issue when I had them all in containers. So one more thing that I do add to my tomatoes, I always add Epsom salt to them. I usually don't do it when I plant them, but I'm going to now because I'm out here and it's been a few weeks since they've had any sort of supplement. They have the compost going around them, which is great. I'm just gonna add the Epsom salt. That's gonna help with good root development. And when we get further along in the season, I'm gonna put it on regularly, probably about at least once a month. I'm gonna be putting it on there, and I just sprinkle it around the base of the plant. So this is just regular Epsom salt. Just dig in there, take a little handful, and I just sprinkle it around, try to sprinkle it around the base of the plant. Just sprinkle it around. And then once I water them, like it'll dissolve it. It'll dissolve and be able to be absorbed by the roots. Yeah, like I said, this is gonna help with good root development. I put this on my tomatoes, and I also put it on my peppers. So yeah, just sprinkling them around the root, that's gonna aid in it's gonna help with good root development. And further along in the season, it's gonna keep everything going green, and it's gonna help keep production going. It's a great fertilizer. I use that. I use my compost. I sprinkle them around the base of the plant. I do use worm castings also, which is just worm poop. You can buy a bag of that at Walmart. Yeah, within a few days, you can see the difference that it makes, just giving them that supplement, giving them those added nutrients that they're looking for. So yesterday I put my big tomatoes in the ground. I was really debating if I should or not, if I should leave them in the containers or if I should put them in the ground, only because they're so big and I've never transplanted anything that big. I really didn't want to disrupt what they had going, but ultimately I went for it, and I think they did fine. This was my biggest tomato. It does look a little bit sad. It looks a little droopy. I think in a day or two it's gonna be fine. It should perk back up. The sun has come up. It has tons of compost. I added that Epsom salt for it. And I'm just gonna give it a couple days and see what it does. But what I noticed, and this is what lets me know that this is promising, that I'm not worried about it. It has a lot more of these at the top, and it has a lot more of those. That is a result of putting it in the ground and putting all the compost around it, because those were not looking that healthy. Those were not looking that good. Those ones really sprung to life. And I always look at the top of the plant. You can always see a difference. When I add something to it, I mean, you can kind of tell. It's hard to see. These are a nice deep green, and this is a little bit brighter. That usually happens a day or two after I supplement them. If I put the Epsom salt on it, those will perk right up and I'll see that. And you can just see how it's a boost in development. Same thing when I add compost around the base of the plant. I usually see that. I see that color change at the tops of the plants, and it just tells me that it's growing. See, that has new buds forming on it even. This one fell over in the driveway, and but it's perking up. They'll all be fine. Those are the tips that I have for planting tomatoes. I usually overdo it with planting all my tomatoes. I probably put more in the ground than I need. But I cannot use them for pasta sauce. I use them for just about everything. I use them for snacking. Always good to have more than enough on hand. And this year especially, I want to make sure that I'm able to share with my family, with my friends, whoever might need them. And yeah, they're gonna love the sunshine today. Thanks for watching Bamba Gardens. Make sure you like and hit subscribe.